This not just girl talk.
It's talk for the people.
You got two women,
Two voices,
one sound.
and that's the truth.
You here with the married Dawn,
And the selective Dawn.
and we here to call a spade a motherfucking spade. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get to it.
Back. What's up, friend?
Hey,
That was so fake.
how you been this week?
I've been good. You know, just coaxing along, going with the flow, minding my business.
Drinking your water?
Wine, not water.
Okay.
Wine and water.
Well, Jesus turned water into wine.
I think I might have missed that party, but we gonna run it back.
It's been a while since we've been in the lab.
It has. Last week we did a replay. They got a lot of feedback. For you ladies that question me, yes, AP is still happily married. Don't ask me that again.
What kind of interaction? Because you did a watch party
I did.
that had a lot of viewers, actually. What kind of feedback did you get?
So those who watched were really engaged, and they were giving their feedback on what they felt like was an alpha male.
Okay.
And one comment that stood out to me was nobody should follow society standards.
That's true.
We shouldn't, but unfortunately we do at times, whether we know it or not.
But I feel like society standards is like set by white people.
There you go with that.
For real?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is it too early?
No, it's not too early, but you know
Oh.
how you said people would think that you are racist? That's it right there.
No, but seriously, think about certain things, right?
So European standards.
Whoever the fuck is not mine.
Oh, and that was brought to you by Crown Royal, guys.
But I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, in the beginning, the standards of beauty were thin, long hair, all that kind of stuff, right? So we all went with that. Or in the beginning, the dream was work for the government, retire after your 30 years, whatever. Who want to work for this nigga now? No, seriously. And, like, who's really focused on the long hair, the skinny, and all that? Like, those are all based off of what white people told us in the beginning.
Okay.
So, that's what I be trying to get people when they be saying, like, well, this goes for this or this goes for that. Or, like how you said you have read Cosmo. Who is Cosmo by? But you read Cosmo and they said the alpha male looks like this. That's white people.
Okay.
You can have a short, I was about to say nigga, but you can have
You
a
can say
short,
nigga.
You can have a short man that knows how to hold his own. Even
Okay.
though most men that I have come across that are short got little man syndrome. But I'm sure somebody out there.
And what is little man syndrome? They feel the need to overcompensate
Yes.
for the lack of height.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's okay.
You know, I didn't start noticing short men until here recently. It's like a lot of y'all niggas was stunted at growth. Like, height really cheated y'all. And I'm short. So if we eye to eye or I'm looking down at you, it's not going to work.
Okay. I just thought about something that I'll say for off air.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But you had a watch party for the show we did on Blended Families.
No, I had a watch party for the show we did with AP. And so that was last week. And then, did I do a watch party?
Yes.
Oh.
The first one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And we had a
And that
couple-
was by a fluke.
Was it?
It was. I
Okay.
just clicked the link and it was like, oh, okay, so-and-so is watching, so-and-so is watching.
But you had a lot of interaction.
They
with
did.
That one.
And actually, our Ask the Don question is from that show.
Today's Accident? Okay.
It's from the Blended Family.
Okay.
And it's actually kind of good,
Okay.
I think.
So what kind of feedback did you get from that show?
The Blended Family.
Yes.
Okay, so one listener was like, I don't believe in a blended family. My family is to be separated. Don't bring your kids around my kids. I'm dating you. I'm not dating your kids. And I was like, that's kind of selfish.
Now, I was almost with them, but at some point they're going to have to come together.
Well, no, this person does not believe in blending your family because her issue was, or her argument was, if it doesn't work in the relationship with me and your father, I don't want to be attached to your children.
Now, I get that, but what about if it does work out? Like if they are ready to take it to the next level and get married.
Well, she's now single, so they're not reaching that next
She'll
level.
probably be single for a while.
Unless she finds someone who doesn't have children.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That's good.
No, now you fought.
So anyway, that was brought to you by Crown Roll.
No, y'all ain't hear that?
I hope not. But anyway, so I got a lot of feedback. You know, niggas always be trying to come for my neck when I be talking. So some of the feedback I got, and it was so funny, and I know this person is watching, but...
Now, can I just ask this really quick? Is this feedback from people you know or feedback from just people who've watched the show and they don't really know you in real life?
People I know.
Okay.
People I know. So one person I know, he came to me and he was like, you came across like kids don't need their father. And I was like, what? He was like, well, you talked about how you don't want your husband telling your kids this and you don't want your husband disciplining your kids. Well, first of all, sir, let me let you know. You don't even have your kids. You paid that check and you had a whole shindig when your child turned 18. You got some fucking nerve to tell me that don't know kid need their father, especially mine, because mine is good with their father. My baby father.
No, that's not your baby father. That's your husband.
My husband is a good goddamn daddy.
And he's a good husband.
He's an excellent husband. He's a good man, period. But I've never said that, and I don't ever want anybody to think that kids don't need their dad. I personally think kids need their dad just as much as they need their mom. I'm saying for me, it's hard for me to relinquish a lot of control. But in my household, the dad is the dad. Like the dad is the man, the dad is the leader. So don't come for me and mine. And my daddy has always been a good dad. And I need my dad just as much as I need my mom. But my mom is more emotional. My mother is more sensitive than my dad. So it's easier for me to go to her.
So would you just say that the roles and the relationships are different, not that one means more than the other?
Exactly.
Is that what you meant?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
No mother or father is more important. I know I said a mother's love is different, which I do believe a mother's love is very different from a father's love. But a kid needs both of their parents.
Okay.
At all times. So I don't ever want to put that out there or... Yeah, no, that's not what I think. But take care of yours before you come for mine.
Okay, so I think that kind of speaks to our ability to be personal, right, on the show. And understanding that sometimes people might attack what you say, but you can't personalize it. So to Sir, who felt like he could come for your situation, in short, you would say don't.
Yeah, that's a clean version.
Okay. Okay. But speaking of your husband, so last week we had the opportunity to participate with The Root Cause, who's another podcast out of the DMV. I checked them out. They're on Instagram at The Root Cause 2. That's the number 2. They did a back to school drive. And the turnout was amazing.
It was.
It was really great to see, especially since we give men a lot of grief. There were a lot of black fathers there, working fathers there. Involved in the community, participating. So shout out to the Root Cause for putting back that awesome back to school event. And the Don's donated book bags,
and not
school
the Don's,
supplies.
Carmen donated. So we appreciate that. We do. And you bought lunch boxes to match. That was so cute.
Well, that was from the podcast. That was from us.
This one little boy, I saw the boy that grabbed the book bag. He was so excited about his lunch box. But his mother made him put it. She was like, you might as well put that back. You got free lunch. But he took his lunchbox.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I didn't see what girl got it, but yeah, that was, we really appreciate you. And it's always good to see men putting on something. Because I think it was, it was led by all men. So that was dope.
Black men. Black working men. So to Mr. Ball.
Mr. Bizzle.
Miguel and Shane, and there were a couple other gentlemen, so please forgive me if I don't remember your name, but you know that you were a part of it, so we thank you for that. Yeah, my week been cool though. I went back to school.
Or nothing.
Yeah, I buckled down and went back to school. I'm
You
gonna
was
go ahead
okay?
and
You stayed on your feet all week? No
nigga.
shootings, no
Well,
drive-bys?
there was no shooting and no drive-bys then.
Okay.
But
You kept your ass in your pants?
when I needed to, and then other times I, assed out.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I think this week it was good to see. It's always good to see kids go back to school. That's it. It's just been grinding.
You got something coming up.
Trying to get rid of my 9 to 5.
Okay, but with getting rid of your 9 to 5, you have a major event coming up on the 14th of this month, right?
I do.
Okay, you want to tell the people a little bit about it?
It's called Beyond the Surface to the Wedding. And we have a group of panelists who are going to, it's an interactive workshop.
Okay.
Where the purpose is basically to go deeper into what people's life purposes is and how to get there. And so I have a group of panelists. I have Bree. She goes by Mad Melfi. She has a podcast. I have Miss Carmen Nicole from Conversations with Carmen. I have the Men of the Root Cause. I have Kelly Ware, and I have Najia Williams.
Okay.
On the panel, so hopefully everybody will be able to come together. It's not just a women's empowerment. It's not an empowerment, actually. It's actually a forum. It's very interactive. There will be activities, foods, and things like that. But I'm not standing up there talking to nobody because my shit ain't all the way together. So I never want to present it like that. But it's all a work in progress. And I think that it's important that people come together and have a team of support and a little affirmation to help them along the way. Mm-hmm. So do you want to talk about what you'll be bringing?
I'll just be bringing myself. Mm-hmm. This shirt was actually gifted to me by one of my friends, the hood therapist. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends have used me as their sounding board, right? Mm-hmm. And I know last season I said I was like the dump ground, but I had to really change how I saw when people felt the need to confide in me, and then the advice that I gave back. So one of my friends was like, bitch, you just need to go back to school and stop playing and, just become a therapist. And she was like, you like my hood therapist. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that. I have that edge, so hence the hood therapist.
Okay. Do you think you have to go to school to be a therapist?
I think that if you want to have certain terminology and you want to practice in certain settings, yes, you do need those credentials. Mm-hmm. But I do also think that sometimes you need that raw, unfiltered advice. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need your friend to call you out and say, bitch, you are wrong. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You don't always want to hear that clinical definition of what it is you're going through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Podcasting is our therapy sometimes.
Yeah.
When we talk to each other, when we talk to the audience, we're just short of a year. And I still have people talking to me or coming to me like, damn, I listened to this show and this is what I got from it. Mm-hmm. If I reach one, I've reached millions. Mm-hmm. If we've reached one, we've reached millions. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I did just recently go back to school, which was the dumbest shit ever, I feel like. Staying up late, writing these papers. But in the long run, it's going to look good to have more letters behind my name.
So are you going to school for?
I'm going to go ahead and knock that therapy degree out.
Okay. So what, psychology?
We going to hold on to that.
Oh, okay.
Because when that doctor walls pop up on your timeline.
Come on now.
Because doctors drink Crown too, bitch.
Okay. I'm proud of you. That's dope. So you want to so you want to focus on therapy?
Yeah, I think we need more therapists. And I think we need more raw therapists. I know for me, I've gone to therapy. And sometimes it's a little uptight. They're sitting there with their notepad. And I don't always want that. Sometimes I want that casual relationship. And I don't always get that. So I want to be the one to change the narrative and the dynamic of what traditional therapy looks like. Your therapist can have a shaved head, wear Jordans and Nikes. You're not going to always get them in the uptight suit and notepad.
That's dope. That's awesome. The only thing, so I feel a certain way about therapy.
You don't believe in it?
I feel a certain way about therapy, but I know a lot of people that go and actually love it. They like, no, this is where it's at. But I guess my whole thing is I cannot get with talking to a stranger. And I don't want anybody to tell me something that's in a book. So you changing the narrative, that'll be really good. And I've oftentimes used you as my own therapist, but haven't, labeled it as that. So yeah, that's dope. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, friend.
Mm-hmm. That kind of takes us into our topic, though. Because like some people can go with therapy
as a means to cope,
but other people
use
other things.
Substance.
Look at you filling in my sentences. That's so cute. It's like we for real sisters.
I've been stuck with you for a long time.
Very long time.
Maybe a little too long sometimes.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Well, so we talk about coping and what coping mechanisms look like and what are effective and maybe not effective coping mechanisms. So for us, if you've been following us long enough, we like to drink, hence the Crown Peach. But you have people who also engage in...
Hold on, time out. I'm sorry. Because somebody hit me in my DM and they was like, y'all do a lot of free advertising.
We do.
And they was like, y'all need to monetize off that shit. Stop calling out these chicken places and what y'all drinking and y'all ain't getting no pushback. So.
Okay.
We ain't gonna say their name till they ready to put us on payroll.
Okay, well.
We already giving them money. They don't need the free advertising. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
That really struck a chord with you, didn't it?
When they said that, they was like, when they listed the places that we called out, and they was like, y'all ain't even got a free chicken sandwich. And I was like, bitch, you right.
Okay, so we gonna go back to the topic, but you can't always do things tit for tat. Like you can't call them out and then expect them to call you out. That's not really how that works. That goes back to the whole support thing. Like just because I advertised you, I'm not expecting you to advertise me. And I'm not expecting you to support me. It's just I am in favor of your brand. I mentioned it. I'm okay with that. We gonna sell ourselves. So don't be so caught up in all the free advertising we've given out. Somebody's advertising us. Whether you know it or not. Just because it's not being said to us, somebody's definitely advertising. Look at the shares we've gotten. Excuse me, when people repost our shows, when people talk to us individually. The biggest mistake people make in media or just when branding. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
My Daily called the show, guys.
Sorry.
It's thinking that because it's not posted, it's not being talked about, it's not being seen, or it's not being heard. That's not the case. I've walked into a couple places. You that girl with the podcast. Yeah, I'm that girl with the podcast. So it's not on social media, so you don't believe that it happened. That's not fair. Don't be so caught up in that. So we're going to turn this peach around.
Okay. I feel a certain way about that, but okay.
Hey, everybody not going to like what you're doing.
I agree with that, but I do also agree with this is also a business and a brand too. And I think that a lot of times people don't respect that. They'll be, put me on the show. I want to be on the show.
But what do you have to talk about? As soon as you ask that one question and they don't know, it's time to move on.
But not only that, don't ask to be on my show and you not reposting my show or you not sharing my show. But you'll call out, oh, you okay? You got a hole in your chin?
I think so. I was about to say something smart.
But you will call out everybody else. Niggas that ain't paying you no attention. But, no, we're not doing that. Thank you. Come on, Dribbles.
Well, actually, it's on the table because remember what I said. I catch it.
Okay.
Anyway, moving along.
Oh, God. Back to the enhancements.
Okay, so I remember the first time I had an edible, right?
Okay.
And I remember the feeling I had. And I swore up and down like I never wanted to feel like that again. And for those who don't know what an edible is,
who don't know what an edible is in 2019?
You might have somebody who doesn't engage in that. Like, for a long time, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, but it's 2019, nigga. Weed is damn near legal.
Everywhere. But, I mean, you have people who don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it's a infused treat. It could be a brownie, a Rice Krispie, a cookie, a drink, a meal, whatever it is, right? I remember the first time I hate it, and I swore up and down that I would never want to feel like this again.
Really?
Well, I did it the wrong way. I ate the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I was at work, not the job I have now, but I was at work, and I ate it at like 9 in the morning. Nigga, I was high until the next day. Like, I was super duper high. And I was like, I never want to feel like this again. But I slept so good, and I ate everything under the sun. And once I came down off that high, I was like, oh, I can get used to this. I felt like I had cheated myself out of getting high all those years because I did. I felt like, I could get used to this. I could get used to this feeling of not caring about anything, real mellow, because I'm typically laid back, but then there's other things that I'm really high strung about. It gave me like the perfect balance. So shout out to that friend who didn't tell me don't eat the whole thing. But what I also noticed while being under the influence, I whisper.
This is true. This is very true.
I whisper because I feel like I'm talking loud. So it gives me a feeling of relaxation, but it also alters my sense of reality. So is that a good or a bad thing?
That it alters your reality?
Yeah. Like, I don't care about shit when I have been under the influence.
I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think that that's why most people will get high, is because it changes the reality. It knocks off some of the tension. Like, I know for me, when I first tried it, my very first time, I was at work too. But not this job. It was actually a couple jobs before this.
Please specify for anybody who's watching.
No, it's not this job. It's a couple jobs before this. A couple years ago. But it didn't hit me right away. I don't think I had the whole thing. I think she told me, no, it was hers. And she was like, just get a piece. Let me know how you feel tomorrow. So I went about my day. Work was fine. But by the time I was working in D.C., by the time I got to Eastover,
We were home
like,
by then.
Whoa. Like,
But when did you take it?
At work. I can't remember the time. And most of my jobs, I don't get off till 6. So by the time I get to Eastover, coming from, I was working at my place that I worked at in Georgetown. Okay. So I came from Georgetown to Eastover.
In traffic.
Dog, by the time I got to, the light where the McDonald's is.
I do.
Nigga, I was like, what is going on? So I was like, all right, so I had to get my kids. So I got my kids. And I went home. And Frankie wasn't home this day. I don't know where he was at. But it was me and the kids at home. And shit was just super slow.
Yes.
Like, super slow. But what happened was, during this time, I remember the first phone call I got when I was under the influence. And it was a bill collector. I answered it. Usually I ignore it, but I answered it. It was school loans. I remember this shit like the back of my hand.
Sally Mae called you.
Yes. I answered it, and she was like, oh, it's time to pay up. And I was like, look, I don't have it. I just really do not have it. And I won't have it for a long time.
So don't call me no more.
And so she gave me all these options. And I was like, I've been running from y'all, and y'all got all these options. So she gave me like an option where I didn't have to pay for like 12 months.
Loan deferment.
Deferment, yes. That was my first time ever hearing about that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I graduated in 2014. And I left this job, this is 2019. So I left this job maybe like 2015. Okay. So I didn't know about it. So I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I can go under the influence because it gives me the confidence.
So you felt empowered.
I did, to face things that I normally would run from. And even like with the kids' homework. So I know you've seen the memes where they be like, it's that time of year where you be yelling at your kids like 2 + 2.
And I've seen that.
Nigga, homework was a breeze. Like, the whole night was a breeze.
They probably felt better that whatever you did, they probably was like, ooh, I wish she would do that more often.
So, but this is the thing I have to say. For a long time, I felt like it took the ease off of me because at home, a lot of times I find myself snapping real quick. Like my patience is super thin. And maybe it's because I've been at work all day, dealing with that. I've always had to deal with a lot of traffic, whatever. So I've usually always been snapping. But when I would have a treat, nothing bothered me. Like shit, it was cool. So I was like, well, I'm going to start doing this more to be a better parent. But then I got to the point where it was like, my son is getting older. And maybe it was just my conscience. I felt like he was watching me. Like, when I would be like that, I felt like he would be like this.
So, that's why I don't drink around your children. Like, I just feel like...
Yeah.
all eyes are on me.
Yeah.
Like, damn, you don't want to play doll babies or something?
Right, exactly. So, the little ones ain't mine. But what...
But no, you got one little one that's sharp.
But he'll let me slide. Like,
not me.
Yeah. Well, he's always had his eye on you. Always.
And
like,
I don't know why.
Since he came home, he's always had his eye on you. But like, what made me want to slow down or actually slow down was one time, and I actually recorded it. We was laughing about it, but when I watched it the next day, I was like, whoa. So one time, me and the kids was home. We chilling or whatever. And so I'm like, hey, do this to the twins. They just fucking around, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all wouldn't do this if your father was here. So Lil Frank was like, Mom, they wouldn't. And I was like, for real? So Lil Frank was like, hey, y'all go do this. Go do that. Like, they just completely taking advantage of me because I'm under the... And now, I don't think they
see
know
that you're in a relaxed state.
I'm in a relaxed state. Like, I ain't on them. So then he was like, Mom, Dad would do this, Dad would do that, and they would be doing this. So I was laughing about it at first, and I was like, your father, whatever. But then the next day, I was like, maybe this too much. Like, maybe I need to kind of curb this. Like, I don't want to... Like, am I missing something when I'm this way under them? So I had to slow up doing that around now. Because I didn't want to feel like I had needed that to be a good parent. And at one point, that's how I felt. Like I needed that. Or even like I know some parents, I hope I ain't talking too much. Some parents I know would be like, I need some wine for my kids. I don't want to feel like I need that to be a better parent or a better friend. But I do know for me, it does take... I've even had this conversation with you. Like, that's how we got here.
The bottle. It's deeper than the bottle they got us here.
And I've been able to have... I'll call you if I'm under the influence.
Nigga.
And really tell you how I really, really feel. Sidebar. I'm going to call you and tell you how I really, really feel about your birthday. But later on.
I'm well aware of that because I ain't spoke to you all week.
Okay. But that's not why. I told you why before the show. But yeah, so it's just like, it takes the pressure off.
So what I will say is that when I have been under the influence or when my friends have been under the influence, I can speak to conversations that have been had. And it's like, once we come down from, it's like, oh, I don't remember that. And it's like, how you don't remember that? Like, we legit had a whole conversation about this, and this. Oh, well, fuck it, I was high. That doesn't excuse why you don't remember certain shit, right?
Well,
so
you don't think so?
I don't. For me, I don't. But I also know, and like I said, I felt like I had cheated myself because I don't smoke. I will do the edibles. I have, done the edibles. I've done the infused drinks. I've done the brownies, the popcorn, the everything. Fuck it. I was so high one time, half my body was standing at the window, half my body was in the bathroom. I knew I needed to get to the bathroom, but I couldn't get two on the same page, so I just stood at the window.
Or you were so high one time the unicorn came with us to Las Vegas.
It did. The unicorn was, and I was so glad that you were asleep because when that stewardess came back with the ginger ale and crackers, I think I swallowed a whole bag of crackers. That's just how lifted I was, right? But what I noticed was that I was starting to use those. I went from using it for recreational purposes to coping purposes, and that's when it became dangerous for me. It turned into I was learning how to function under the influence.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be like that. Like, I never wanted to learn how to function under being high or being drunk. Like, I would go to the happy hour of all happy hours and be there for hours. Run up a tab for $200-$300, right? Easy. I go home, I take my shower, I get up for work the next day, head rocking. But I'm at work just functioning. That's not normal. So I went from using it to just relax to now I'm using it to cope. I'm using it to suppress. I'm using it to block out life's distractions. And I hated who I was becoming.
Oh, that's deep.
I did. Like, I really, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, you disgust me. I disgusted myself. And that's when I had to take a step back and be like, you know what? That's not what it is.
Wow. That's deep. I think for me, I think I always wanted to learn how to function with it. And I think I've taught myself. So, like, for example, I'm preparing for this next week, right? In my head, I know I shouldn't be drinking or getting high or whatever enhancement I choose. But for me, it's also like, I don't ever want, to me, it's a way of life. For me, I like alcohol, and sometimes I may like to be under the influence.
No, we love alcohol.
To knock the edge off, but I want to be able to function under it. But I see how that can be dangerous.
Because you got lost a couple weeks ago.
I did, but not even that. But not for me, because I think I know me, but more so for, I think you have to really know who you are with it. Because like me, if I say, all right, I ain't doing this, I can cut it off today or tomorrow and really not do it for however long I want to do it. If I say I don't want to do it forever, I can stop. But some people can't stop. But I think that's just kind of in knowing who you are. Like, I want to be able to function under it. It was one point in time where I would get high and all I did was eat and sleep. But it's like I had to train my mind where it was like, you got too much shit to do. But you want to do this. You got to find a way to function. And I did. Like, I literally will talk to myself like crazy if I'm high, if I know I got something to do. So I can function under it. But I know being a function, and I'm not calling you this, but being a functioning like addict can be very dangerous.
I call myself a functioning alcoholic. I'll say that. There was, like I said, there was a period
I'm
where
not gonna call you that because I
know myself.
Okay,
if I expect people to be honest, if we gonna break the seal, I gotta break my own seal.
But I've also known you to be a person to where if you wanted to cut it off, you can cut it off.
I most certainly can, but I was more of a functioning alcoholic.
Okay, so
and that came from just being predisposed. You know, I saw growing up what alcoholism does to the family, right? And I'm not going to go into great detail, but I saw what it was like to get up, be drunk as a fucking skunk, and get up and go to work and make the money. Like, I have had times where I have been, like, fucked up. And I mean, like, I need a Gatorade, I need Pedialyte, I need grease, I need everything to function. But when that alarm go off at 5:30, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to work, and y'all not going to know what's going on with me, but on the inside, I'm fucked up. And I realized that it took me a long time to recover from that. But it didn't take me long enough because guess what? I was right back at the next happy hour. I was right back with the red cup. I was back with the, the coffee cup with a little something in it. And it was in those moments that I was like, whatever it is you're running from in life, you got to deal with that. And you got to deal with it sober. You got to work your way through whatever it is, you're hiding from. And that's when I would say, you know what, I got to cut it all off. So it went from being, like I said, recreational to I need this. This is my crutch.
So how do you feel about it now?
It's cool now. Like now I might want to pop an edible and just chill. Like if I want to sleep with just no interruptions, I'll pop one. Or if I'm going to have a good time, yeah, I'll take one. No problem.
But I mean, not even an edible, like even alcohol. I mean, and actually, certain people use different things to enhance it. They don't. It's not just about alcohol and weed. Some people will feel like they have to be at every type of party. To me, that's like, it's not just weed and alcohol. It just doesn't stop here. You know, for some people, but you know, even with us drinking now, like how do you view alcohol now, or how do you even view yourself now? Because you said you couldn't look at yourself. I didn't know that.
I couldn't. Like now, I'm cool. I'm okay. Like I know my limit now.
But why do you?
And I'm not
drink
looking
now?
to for fun, for recreation. Like I'm not looking to suppress anything. I'm not looking to run from anything. Whatever it is in my life, I'm facing it head on. That's what it is. Like this right here, we just shooting the shit. You know, I'm not using this to cope with. Is there a level of uncomfortableness with between her and I? Am I nervous about being on air? Am I nervous about telling my story? I don't care about none of that shit.
But do you need something like that?
I could drink water and feel the same way.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So what did you do to change your perception of how you looked at or how you used different enhancements? To change the view about you. Because I'm really disturbed. I never knew you ever were in a place to where you,
Now, what do you mean, what did I do?
what did you do? Like, did you have to say no alcohol or no enhancements for 30 days? Or, like, what did you do in order to now be able to say, okay, I can use this as for recreational purposes and still be able to look at myself and be like, I am Carmen and I love myself and, you know, all that.
This is about to be an easy conversation moment.
Okay.
Something happened June 19th. And I realized that I was using substance to cope with, well, June 19th, 2017, let me say that. I realized that I was using substance to cope with what I didn't want to face was my now reality, right? And it happened then. And then I went back to work the following week. And then you and I went to brunch like nothing had never happened.
Yeah.
And it was like an awkward silence in the car when we were talking, but we were drinking on the way there. And when I got home that night, I was like, you have to face this. And you have to face it without being under any influence. And I sat in a quiet space and I wrote down everything that was bothering me. And I said, from here on out, I'm going to face this without any enhancement. I'm going to face this without alcohol. I'm going to face this without being high. All the above. And I had to live that. I had to go through those withdrawals. You know, I had to go through, I want to drink, but no, I'm not. I want to get high, but I'm not. It was hard. It was a rough 30 days. You know, I isolated myself from the world. No, I don't want to go to your happy hours. No, I don't want to have any edibles, none of that. I needed to just read and recite and look at what it is I was trying to work through.
What were you reading?
I had wrote down what I wanted.
Oh,
what I wanted better
writing.
for myself. Yeah.
Okay.
So I read. So this is. You want to know what I read? This is bigger than you.
Is that a book?
No.
Oh.
I wrote that.
Oh.
I wrote in bold letters. This is bigger than you.
Nigga.
And I read that every day. It was in my mirror when I was getting up and I was getting dressed.
This is bigger than you.
And it didn't take me long to figure it out what the bigger than you was. Because a year later, the bigger than you revealed itself. And I was like, this is what I needed to go through. Like, this is the withdrawals that I needed. This is everything that I was mad about, I was angry about. It came full circle.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's a lot.
It is. So see,
that is
as much as you might think you know your friends, you don't know your friends.
Because you know me, I still need an enhancement when we talk about that. I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know. I ain't got nothing.
I mean, you asked me, so
I did, but you know, that kind of knocked.
You need another shot?
like I need mine straight now because I mean, you know how I feel about that. And you know that personally I'm only okay talking about that under some type of influence. That's really, I like, from the bottom of my heart, I'm really proud of you for that. This is bigger than me.
You got to know that.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like honestly, I feel like that's just something that you just really have to sit in.
Yeah, you have to, and nobody else can go through that with you.
No, but I mean, just those words, you have to really sit in and really think about and accept, and that's why I don't have a comeback for that. On top of, that I'm uncomfortable talking about that.
We don't have to.
We're not going to, but that's just that's where I am with that. But I'm proud of you. I think that's big. That's actually something I'm going to take to my journal today and focus on, and just like really get into the words. So that's big. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, friend.
You're welcome, friend.
Okay. Now, should your employer, we're going to get past that more somber moment. Should your employer be able to regulate what you do outside of work? So, let's say you get hurt on a job, and automatically they send you to go get a drug test. How you feel about that?
I always check the guidelines of a job before I apply. I think if you're on the job, it's okay for them to test. Well, I don't know, because like some of that stuff stays in your system for a long time.
Well,
because like edibles is like 30 or 45 days.
Well, if you get down how we used to get down, keyword used to, our shit was filthy.
Yeah.
Dirty. And let me just say this. I worked in the city about 10 years ago.
Be careful.
And I worked for a nonprofit organization, and we required some of our participants to drop a urine. And this particular participant told me, like, hey, look, Miss So-and-so, I'm going to be dirty. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And this always stuck with me. He was like, I'm going to put a little dirt in my urine, and that's going to contaminate the test for 30 days. So by law, y'all can't test me for another 30 days.
Let me put this.
No, don't put that. So, people learn ways around the testing. And I always said that if that was to happen to me, hey, I'm going to drop a little dirt in the test. And then I had an employer tell me one time that, hey, tell them you got a drug problem. They got to give you 30 days in a rehab to clean yourself up. If you admit to having a drug problem, that secures your job. Now, I'm not saying that's for all agencies, so y'all watching, don't go out here and get high.
Right.
And then say, hey, the Dhon's told me I got 30 days in a drug habit. No, we didn't tell you that. Know your agency, know your law. I don't think that personally an employer should be able to regulate what you do after contract hours.
I don't think so either. I
understand it, but I don't agree with it.
I'm like 50-50 on that one. Because I feel like weed is not bad.
Weed, but then you have weed with the boat.
Now that's something different.
The coke.
To me, that's something different because of the effects it has on people. But weed, for the most part, I mean, shit, they even got strains that have like the uppers and the downers. I don't know what they call, like sativas and something else. You know, Donnell? What's they called?
Sativas, indica?
Yes, indica. So they have like the different strains where you can be up or down. I don't think that is bad. I've never tried coke. I don't know nothing about cocaine, heroin, nothing like that. I've only seen shit from like TV and things. That is something totally different. And I think that weed has been proven to help people cope with even different illnesses. So,
and when you say that, you're speaking about medicinal, right?
Ain't the shit all the same?
No, it's not. Well, so this is the thing. This is what's going to drive a wedge or be the determining factor. If you have a medical marijuana card, you can't purchase a firearm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So is it more important for you to get high or to protect yourself?
Well, I don't like guns, so for me, I want to get high. I would rather get high. Let me say that. I don't like guns, so I would rather that. But I think that weed has been proven to have different effects on people, and not always bad. Like, I know it's a meme out there, but seriously, how many people do you know or have you heard of somebody having a weed overdose?
I mean, we done had some good times off of edible.
Yeah, but not an overdose.
No, Vegas.
Like me,
everything.
I don't wake up with hangovers.
I do.
Maybe because it's my body weight or something. I don't know, but I don't have that problem.
Your body weight?
Yes. It could be like, the fat in your system that soak it up.
Okay.
But like, I don't have that problem. And I can get bent.
Drunk.
Like,
drunk.
Done.
We know.
Like.
Well, I know.
I just thought about a story. Remember after Amber? Our cookout. But anyway, and I'll wake up the next day and perfectly fine. I'm good.
Now, in my old age, it has taken me a little while longer to recover.
I've noticed that about a lot of my friends, and I'm like, it gotta be my weight.
Not necessarily.
Well, I don't know what it is, but the last time I had a hangover was, I was working for.
Don't say the agency.
This had to be like 2006 or 7. That's the last time I had a hangover. Like, vomiting, all that. Never had one since then. Never woke up, needed a Gatorade. I hate Gatorade.
So I have a friend, and he and I are like this. And you know this friend, but I'm not going to say his name. We know when each other are fucked up. And we just say, you need some grease. And the beauty in our friendship is that he's always with the shits. But we take such good care of each other when we've been drunk. You need those friends. So for friend, I thank you.
Time out. Is that how we ended up McDonald's that night when the man was on the bicycle with
That's
the umbrella?
exactly how we ended up at McDonald's. That is exactly
how.
how.
You was like, hey, was he in the drive-thru? You was like, hey.
With the umbrella on a bicycle. And it wasn't raining.
Hey, yes it was. I think it started to drizzle. No?
He was on something else.
Let me tell you, McDonald's
is not good for you, but it hit the spot at 3 a.m. when you.
The spot.
You felt that.
Listen, I can taste that quarter pounder now especially after this.
Okay.
And no onions. Whew, Lord.
So followers, y'all know the way to her heart now. Quarter pounder with no onions. If you see her in the street, drop her one.
You want to go into our Ask the Dawn?
I think so. I don't want our listeners or our viewers to feel like, oh, they some weed heads or, but in all seriousness, it's important to acknowledge when your recreational use turns into codependency.
That is important. And I think that not everybody can call that out on their own.
I think they can. I think they don't want to. Nobody wants to see the bad in them, right? Like it's hard to look at yourself and say, I'm disgusted by what I see.
I don't know if that's hard. It's been pretty easy for me sometimes.
Sober?
Yeah. And that's when I know it's like, no, I gotta chill. But not only from like this or edibles, like I have to cut everything out. Social media, TV, all that. All of that can be like a filter on our life, and I think that's a lot of what reality TV is. But I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Okay, not my time. Anytime.
This was good. I think that
you learned something new about your friend.
About you, and that's important for me because I feel like I spend a lot of time with you,
trying to figure me out, and like I just don't know about her.
Not necessarily trying to figure you out, but I spend a lot of time with you. Period. I think that I have about 4 people I talk to all week. And you one of the 4. The other 3 are my cousins.
Well, no, 2, because then one is your husband. So
Well, I
5.
talk to him in person a lot. We don't talk on the phone a lot. But I mean, and I just never knew that. Like I know last year or not, whenever we went to Vegas, we all had sat down and said that we
March
wanted to
2018.
change some things about our life, and that we were all going to detox or fast or whatever. I only did mine for 3 days at that time, but it made a big difference.
Here we are.
Here we are.
So see, when you speak things into your reality, you'll see them. You'll see them. You know, we went to Vegas March 2018. We launched the podcast October 2018. Enough Sis was July 2018. The wedding is now September 2019.
So what happened was, it's crazy because all we did in Vegas was drink.
And eat pizza.
We did. But from that, we all were able to sit down and say, hey. And I don't think we even said alcohol at the time. We was just like, we need a change in our lives for ourselves. So that's dope. I'm really proud of you as a woman to be able to acknowledge where you are in life and what steps you needed to take to move forward. That's dope. That's big. That's why you're on my panel.
Look at that. The hood therapist.
That's dope. Like that.
Okay.
This is big. I like that.
It was bigger than me.
That's like a book title.
It is. All situations that I've gone through here lately that I can't just figure out and sort out right away. Because, you know, I told you I'm good at finding an answer for something, but I can't tell you how I work through it. It's bigger than me. Sometimes you got to sit and stew in that shit that you don't want to deal with.
I'm excited for the people that's coming next week.
Yeah, I don't know if they know.
That.
I don't know if they really ready for that, but they gonna get it.
But those 3 words right there, was it 3?
Oh, nigga, we
5,
know math ain't your strong suit.
Those 5 words.
Were you just counting on your fingers?
Because I had to make sure I was putting it out there right. Because somebody texted me about plethora.
Plethora, nigga.
Oh, shit. God damn it. And I've been practicing that shit all
You been what?
Practicing that shit all
Donnell,
week.
what she need?
Anyway, I was practicing. So plethora?
No.
Plethora?
Don't even worry about that word. Plethora. Don't worry about that
Go
word.
ahead to the Ask the Donnell, please.
Okay. So.
Damn. Nigga, I just knew I had it.
I don't know why. You done?
Hit it.
Okay. So with the Ask the Don, and they then don't wear the shit no more.
You're right. Go ahead.
So with the Ask the Don, I had a friend of mine ask me, is it still the mate or ex-mate now responsibility to keep in contact with the children once we've blended the family and we've broken up?
Is it still the ex-mate's responsibility?
So, you know, you and Frankie, y'all go y'all separate ways, right? Is it still his responsibility to have a relationship with the children after the families are no longer blended?
That's not his?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I don't think that's the right answer people want to hear either.
Well, it's not about what the people want to hear. It's about what you feel.
Yeah. Me personally, no.
So when you break up with the mate, you break up with the children. Is that what I understand?
Yes. For me, that's how I feel. But I'm also one to where I'm borderline, like,
Don't even want to deal with the shit.
I don't want to do the blended nothing. So for me, yes, if I break up with you, I don't want anything to do with your kids. But this is also from someone who has not been in that situation. Too. I was watching Basketball Wives last weekend, and Evelyn had a conversation with
Chad's daughter.
Yes. And she felt like she needed to do that or still keep in contact. But I'm like, you put that, her father, in, did he go to jail for that? Or
It's a lot of
okay, well, either way,
with that, so I don't know.
Either way, you put my dad out there. Now, granted, he may have done wrong, but to me, as the daughter, why would you want to keep up with her? You got your own mother.
But everybody's relationship is different.
This is true.
So if I've influenced you in a way that your mother or your father hasn't, I personally don't see the issue with that. If the children are of age to make that decision.
Of age, okay.
you know, if you want to continue to be in contact with me, cool. If not, I totally understand it because I'm never going to ask you to go against what it is your parents have taught you.
So how do you feel if, like, let's say you were in a relationship with someone and they had a small child?
I was.
And you were there from jump.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that kid knows. Say they have a deadbeat mom. And you and that person separate. Do you feel like you owe... It's because it's not really about the other person at this point. It's about, do you owe the kid that? Do you feel like you still owe the kid that?
I feel like I owe them the ability to make the decision if they still want to deal with me.
The kid or the adult? But this is a kid.
I get that. But I was in a relationship with someone who had children. And he and I went our separate ways. But he also would use his children as a scapegoat. Like, oh, you know, the kids want to talk to you. And I had to cut it off like, they don't, you do. Because when I come around, you know, it's cool. You know, we still have those friendly moments. But, nigga, it's you.
But what if the kid wants to speak to you?
I don't have a problem with that.
How do you think that'll affect their future relationships?
I mean, you deal with me how you deal with me. Like I said, a lot of kids don't see me as an adult, which I don't know if that's something I need to change in myself. I don't know. They see me as like just a fun one. Like, oh, when she come around, we know we gonna have fun. Like, I'm not here to be the disciplinarian. I'm here to add fun and value. I'm not here to discipline you. I'm not here for that. You know, I'm here to be an asset, and I'm not here to take the place of your mother. So, you know, if you choose to continue to deal with me, cool. If you don't, that's cool too.
So you leaving it all in the kid's hand?
They're an adult. Like, I'm not, because I never want to drive a wedge between you and what your parent has told you to do.
But what if the kid wants to talk to you, but the parent has moved on and in a different relationship?
Then that's what it is.
Are you still going to deal with the kid?
I'm not going to go against what your parent has.
How do you tell a kid, no, I'm not going to, I can't?
Well, if you're
if the parent is not saying, Carmen, don't come around.
If you're that young, you have to use your parent to communicate with me.
Okay.
So if your parent doesn't deem it necessary for you to communicate with me, then we don't communicate.
Okay. All right. Closing remarks.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me.
I want to shout out our listener in Spain. We got a listener in Spain that is very faithful. So, hola. That's Spanish, right?
It is now, if you said
okay. Yeah, hola is Spanish. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Oh, bitch, better. All right, we out.
You done?
That's it.
Okay. Who
All right, be clear.